Feels good to wake up on a Monday and have a W under our belts. What is up, Finn fans? Deeper dive into last night's victory against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I'm still going to do the best of video from the live stream. I had a hard time getting the footage off of YouTube. It was going to take like 3 hours. I'm still going to do it. I'll probably upload it later tonight, if anything, because we had a fun time. You guys had a ton of funny jokes, and it was fun for the most part. There were some parts it wasn't fun, but it was fun for the most part. But yeah, today I'm going to talk a little bit more about the game yesterday, deeper dive into stats, season stats, where we're at, talk about some players, especially some players that are under the radar, or some people think they're kind of bust-ish. And I got one of you guys' comments of the day. Rob DM'd me a comment of the day, and I thought it was a very interesting comment. But before we jump into that, I have to shout out new patron, new members, and somebody got some DDW merch. So first, on the Patreon side, I have to shout out my guy, Argo411. Thank you so much for coming a patron. On the membership side, we have Mike Twitty, Elite Hawaiian 36, Gunter Gamings, and Christopher Phillips. Thank you guys so much for becoming members. One of you guys, Dan, said that I should have a first down emoji, because if you notice, you guys, people who are members, get special emojis for the live streams on Sundays. You also get that special icon next to your name for the longer you've been a member. And he said, well, you should have a special emoji for first downs, because I have the first down sound. I'm going to add that. It was a good suggestion from Dan. And on the merch side, I have Zach here. Got himself a DDW shirt. If you want to grab yourself some merch, it is linked below. You can see the t-shirt kind of below the video. I'm trying to come up with new ideas, new merch stuff for you guys. And I make it as cheap. Like, literally, I really don't care about making a profit. And if you guys know how Teespring works, you have to have a minimum to make a profit, and my profit margin for my merchandise, my t-shirts, my hoodies, all that stuff is like $1. I'm not even kidding you. I try to make it as cheap as possible, because I prefer you guys to get some and wear it than me to make a profit. So if you guys want to grab some, you can. It is linked below. So let's jump into the deeper dive. We're going to start with Tua Tagovailoa. Now, some people think Tua Tagovailoa had a extremely poor game, had a garbage game. Was it his best game? No. I'm going to real quick read you a quote from Tua. They asked about, seeing Noah get the toe tap in the end zone. He says, yes, it's gratifying. You think the defense played their asses. He says their asses off throughout the whole night. They gave us many opportunities offensively to go and put points on the board for our team, so that wouldn't be in the situation we were in late in the game, where it was 10-16. A lot of things that need to be corrected offensively. Obviously starts with me, but we'll take the win. We're extremely happy about that. We'll go back to the drawing board when we come back in. But to what you said, a situation was coming to mind as well when Noah did get the interception, because we thought he was probably down at the half-yard line, maybe the 1-yard line. I'm not too sure. The situation we probably have to quarterback sneak or something like that to get out of the end zone. He just clocked down, but they called it a touchback, so we were able to kneel the ball. He even owned up to the fact that it wasn't his best game. It was his first game back. It wasn't his best game. He was definitely rusty. 100% rusty. The first couple series, he really looked good, especially, we got the ball first, and he was really making great throws. He was putting the ball where it needed to be. I think the first 4 series was touchdown, field goal, punt, field goal. So it was like it was completely different than last week against the Minnesota Vikings, where we forced them to punt the ball 10 times, most by any defense this season, and we were getting no points. I think it was like 10-3 at halftime. But we had so many opportunities to get points, and we just couldn't. If it was the penalties knocking us out of field goal range, the sacks knocking us out of field. Whereas first, 4 series, we were getting points on the board. But he even said himself he needs to do better. There was a few dropped interceptions. Again, we're going to go over the film. I'm going to record it tonight because it comes out 24 hours after the game. So I'll record it tonight. It'll be out tomorrow. But I don't think it was as bad as a lot of people were coming out to say it was. Was it, good? No, I don't think it was a good game by him. I think it was an okay game. I think it was a meh game, but I don't think it was, people are saying extremely poor, garbage, this, and that. I don't think it was that bad. But again, we'll break down the film. Maybe that'll change my mind one way or the other. But from my first initial response to it and then sitting and thinking about it for less than 24 hours, because again, game ended at 11:30. I'm recording this at 1:55. I think it was an okay game. I don't think it was his best game, but he did, coming back from not playing for 3 games, I think it was pretty decent. But let's look at some of his stats on the season so far. Tua has 1,296 passing yards. It's not, before he got injured week 3, his passing yards were like top. I think it was leading the league in passing yards, or definitely top 5. Now it's kind of dropped. I think he's, in the 20s. But he does have more passing yards than Daniel Jones, Ryan Tannehill. He's very close to, I think he's about 100 or so passing yards away from Lamar Jackson. So even missing 3 games, he's, that the amount of work he did in those first 3 games really gave him a good amount of passing yards. Passing touchdowns, he has 9. He's 15th in the NFL with that. His passer percentage, his completion percentage is 67.3. That is 6th in the NFL. So he's still top 10 in completion percentage. His QBR is 72, which is 3rd ranked in the NFL. His passer rating is 105.9. That is 4th ranked in the NFL. His in-air yards, so essentially the percentage of how far the ball travels from his hand to the receiver's hand, because you can say, yards per game or yards per pass. All they take that is, how far I could throw the ball 5 yards and then the running back or the receiver can take it another 50, and I get, credited for 55 yards passing, and then they'll take that and they'll average that. Whereas in air yards, they average from my hand to their hand. He has 8.3. That is 9th ranked in the NFL. He's gotten much better at pushing the ball down the field. His pocket time, I thought this was incredibly interesting. Again, he's only played 4 games. He's only played 4 full games. His pocket time average is 1.9 seconds. That is 29th ranked in the NFL. And when I'm talking pocket time, it's not how quick he gets the ball out. It's how much time he has in the pocket before he gets contacted. 1.9 seconds. That is 29th ranked in the NFL, and he doesn't give up a lot of sacks. And his bad pass percentage, so this is essentially bad passes either overthrown, underthrown, all this stuff, is 31st ranked with 10.8%. So it is low, his bad pass percentage. He doesn't throw many bad passes. Again, we saw a few yesterday. I'm not saying he didn't throw any yesterday. We saw a few yesterday. But overall, from his 4 starts, he doesn't really throw much. Again, he's 31st ranked. There's only one guy who's better at not throwing bad passes than him. So again, Tua, his 4 games, the Patriot game was okay. Again, a lot of people thought he did piss poor against the Patriots. I don't. The Ravens game, he did well in the first half, and then he did extremely well in the second half. And the Bills game, he did really well, especially going up against... A lot of people look at the Bills game and said, why weren't we doing more against the Bills? Why this? Why that? When you had Teron Armstead dealing with a toe injury, you had... The Bills secondary was banged up, but their front 7 wasn't banged up. You had Austin Jackson go out with an injury. We had to deal with their front, and we still did well. 3rd and 22, he put a dot to Jalen Waddle. So he did well, in my mind, against the Buffalo Bills, and unfortunately got injured. In this game, he did. To me, this game kind of equates to the Patriots game. They were kind of okay. They weren't great. They weren't good, but they weren't as bad as people are making it out to be. And if that's the case, the next 2 games, he's going to have fantastic games, because it seems like that's the trajectory he's going to go on. Then when it comes to receiving, Tyreek Hill has 773 yards. That is number 1 in the NFL. On 20-plus yard passes, he has 12 of them. That is number 1 in the NFL. Jalen Waddle has 621 receiving yards. That is number 4 in the NFL. on 20 plus passes of 20 plus yards. That he has 11, that is number 3, and on 40 plus yards he has 4, that is tied for number 1. I want to talk about Raheem Mostert because Raheem Mostert needs to get the ball more. Raheem Mostert is our number 1 running back because he is playing ridiculous right now. Yards per attempt, he has 4.5 yards per attempt on the season, and again, this is after they're still having a hard time run blocking, and he is still doing really well, especially some of the games where he didn't have his starting tackles. Tied for 13th in the NFL among running backs, yards per attempt. He has 388 yards on the season. That is 20th in the NFL. And his yards per game, 55.4. That is ranked 24th in the NFL. So, it's not top 10, top 20 really as a running back. But when you look at what he has in front of him, I think Raheem Mostert needs to get the ball more. Chase Edmonds needs to stop getting the ball, especially in passing downs. I try to give people chances over and over. I'm like, all right, let's give another game. Maybe it's a bad game. Let's give another game. Maybe it's a bad. And then he's just concrete hands. Another player I want to talk about before we kind of get to team stats, Jalen Phillips. So many people are down on Jalen Phillips. I see it in the live streams. I see it in the comment section. I see it on Twitter. And I don't understand. I kind of understand, right? Because he only has 3 sacks on the season. But it's like you got to watch the game differently. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to defensive linemen, you got to watch the game differently. You have to see his motor. You have to see the tackles he gets. You have to see his play on the field. It's not all about sacks. Yes, I'd love more sacks, but it's not all about sacks, right? Jalen Phillips had an 87.5 PFF grade yesterday, 7 pressures, 6 stops. Over the past 4 weeks, he has a 90.1 PFF. Again, if you like PFF, because PFF is very inconsistent, so you can take it however you want. But over the last 4 weeks, he has a 90.1 PFF grade. The only defensive end / defensive lineman that has a better PFF than him is Myles Garrett. He has 25 pressures on the season. That is tied for 13th. He has 15 run stops. That is tied for 13th. And yes, he has 3 sacks, but that is tied for 9th in the NFL among everyone getting sacks. So he's still a top 10 in sacks, and he's only had 3. So a lot of people look at Jalen Phillips and say, oh, he's not getting sacks. He's not getting this. He's not getting that. He's still tied for 9th, which means not a lot of people going into this now 8th game are getting that many sacks. People need to take a break and take a breath when it comes to Jalen Phillips, because last year he had 8.5, and people are like, before he had the 8.5, oh, he's a bust. The only reason he's getting 8.5 is because we're playing bad teams. I heard the same thing Christian Wilkins the first year and a half. Christian Wilkins is a bust. We never should have took him when we took him, blah, blah, blah. Now Christian Wilkins is one of our best defensive players. Now when it comes to team stats, points for the Miami Dolphins on offense are 19th, yards were 10th. Our passing offense is 3rd. It went down from 2nd to 3rd. Our rushing offense went up to 29th, which is pretty good there. On defense, the points for are 23rd, yards are 21st. I think that got a little bit better. Our passing is 24th. That got a little better. Our rushing defense, if you guys go back and watch my preview for this game, our rushing defense is now 7th. I think they were 11th or 13th in the NFL. They got much better. They did this rushing defense. I'm so happy how well they're doing. I'll tell you, 3rd down. Now the 3rd down completions got worse, especially on offense. We're 22nd ranked now, converting 36.6%, and on defense we're 23rd, letting a conversion of 41.6. And then red zone, the Dolphins are 5th on offense in red zone. We convert 60. We get in the red zone 65% of the time. We're getting a touchdown. And on defense, we're 28th ranked. We allow 68.2% of touchdowns. Needs to be a little bit better there. But overall, looking at the way they played yesterday, it was sloppy, right? It was a 16-10 win. You thought going in after the first 4 series that the Dolphins were going to blow them out. We're going to score more. We're moving the ball. Like, this is going to be awesome. We're going to have a nice game where we can sit back and not have a heart attack. And then all of a sudden, I already talked about it in the post game with the fourth down play. And somebody on Twitter showed the fourth down play and how Chase Edmonds missed the gap. Instead of running to his left where Teron Armstead opened up the lane for him to get the first down, he decided to run to his right into the back of into the back of his own offensive lineman. So again, that fourth down play might have been the right play, especially if Chase Edmonds hit the right lane. But again, you take the 3, then all of a sudden it's 9 points. They need to score twice. See, it's a whole different world. But obviously we wanted to blow them out. I think I said a 28-27-17 victory. I was expecting more, especially because on paper the Dolphins were better in certain categories. Now you're going to go on and face the Detroit Lions, who have a good running attack. Again, we have a good run-stopping defense. Jared Goff, it's going to be interesting if we can bounce back. I don't know. And the question I keep getting asked a lot is Byron. I have no idea about Byron. Let me get to the comment of the day because this is going to coincide with what I'm saying. Rob Graham Slaw, I hope I said your name right, said, Doug, comment of the day, did you notice a lot of sure tackling in this one? What did they do to improve on the many missed tackles? Yeah, I noticed that the tackling got a lot better in yesterday's game. There was some missed tackles, but that also has to do with Najee Harris being a really good running back. But they got better at making these tackles. The team is getting better as the year goes on, and that's kind of how it works, especially with the new offense and stuff like that. The defense needs to step up, but it's hard for them to step up in certain categories when you literally were going into the game with 3 corners, and then Brandon Jones goes down, and then Clayton Fedulum was in there at safety, and they had to take Noah and had him up at the box. And it was... They need to address the cornerback situation because we have none. So I'll let you guys know what happens with Byron. I know he can't stay on the physically unable to perform list all year, so they'll keep you updated on that. But 4-3, I think we have a top 12 pick now with the 49ers losing yesterday too, which is, a little bit of a cherry on top of that win yesterday. But I'll see you guys tomorrow in the film breakdown. But other than that, like usual, stay classy. FN's out.